Vasquez wants it, and it comes. Vasquez!
The hectic schedule continues for FC Cincinnati. A return to the fortress was just what the doctor ordered for the orange and blue. Nashville was the latest to fall victim to Pat Noonan's club. And we have reinforcements. Aaron Bupenza is here, and he comes with goals. Cincinnati, here we go. Good evening and welcome to FC Cincinnati Weekly alongside Kevin McCloskey. I'm your host, Marshall Kramsky. Kevin, a relatively light week for FC Cincinnati. Just one game. Yeah. A lot of activity lately, a lot of roster changes, but the results, they keep on coming in, Kevin.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think another positive win against Nashville. As you mentioned, this week a little bit lighter, chance to recover. Finally, the team and the roster's back to full capacity, or very close to that at least. And I think for Pat Noonan and the staff, I think it's a good chance to go back over, looking at some of the principles that he's trying to instill. Some of the new players obviously getting caught up to speed, and then some of the returning players that are coming back from international duty, a little bit of additional rest, which I think is a good thing. So it's coming at a good time as we look forward to the Leagues Cup.
A lighter week was probably good when you have to play a tough team like Nashville. It's the closest rival to Cincinnati other than Columbus. Although Pat Noonan, he might deny that they are rivals. A lot of them see them that way. Nashville came into the Fortress last Saturday with their eyes on the top of the table. And things are going quick in this game when Luciano Acosta, he put the pressure on the opponent, as he does, and has another moment of brilliance right off the top, Kevin.
Yeah, again, it's pressure from FC Cincinnati, which at TQL Stadium we're so used to seeing. Acosta, was it a foul? Was it not? It was certainly debated on social media, but it was deemed a foul. There's just a little bit of a clip. So this goal ends up being disallowed, which is a shame because it's an unbelievable beautiful finish from Acosta. And Zimmerman maybe was out of position a little bit, but again, didn't go in FC Cincinnati's favor.
And Walker Zimmerman, the name you just mentioned, he went out and he got his right here.
Yeah, and again, it's a little bit fortunate, I think, with Roman Celentano, doesn't collect it cleanly. It's a little bit of a parry. Walker Zimmerman just, again, luckily in the right position at the right time. Pretty much an easy tap-in. But it was kind of against the momentum of the game, right? FC Cincinnati, I thought, were in control. But they got through it, and this was the goal in to tie it up, again, from a penalty. VAR were involved, but again, Lucho, the captain, steps up. He's got the pressure on his shoulders. Ultimate composure to go and convert that. And FC Cincinnati find themselves back in at one apiece.
And then came the penalties. Consecutive red cards on 2 double yellows coming up here.
Yeah, and again, this game was heated, right, from the start. But as it went on, they're both bookable offences where they had 2 yellow cards, which resulted in a red card. Fafa Piqué and Washington ended up getting sent off. And then FC Cincinnati changed gears, right? Santi Arias, again, this is a great finish.
Beautiful here by Acosta, too.
Exactly, the vision from Acosta, just to split the defence and find Santi Arias in space. Santi knows where the goalkeeper is coming out, Willis, and just a little bit of a chip over, a tidy dink again to go up 2-1.
Nervy moment coming up here when they change a call right there.
And so again, this was a game that was back and forth a lot of times. Even when Nashville were down 2 players, you expected them to fire everything and kind of roll the dice. This was from a set piece, and it looked like a penalty at first sight. You see the replay, a little bit of a dive. My question is, why wasn't it a yellow card? But
sure.
it deemed obviously that it wasn't a yellow card, but the penalty thankfully did not stand. And then Bupenza comes on, as you mentioned before. The crowd are obviously electric at TQL Stadium. I mean, this guy came on, looked dangerous, looked very threatening, and of course he got a goal on his debut, which is always important.
Aaron Bupenza comes into the game and he gets a goal in his debut in the nick of time at the end of the game. That place just absolutely erupted, and good for him.
Yeah, definitely. I think the fans have been very excited about him, about the signing. They've had to stay patient, obviously waiting to the transfer window for him to be eligible to play. He gets his chance this past weekend, and he didn't disappoint.
And it was exciting. It was electric at TQL Stadium. And after the game, Coach Pat Noonan, he had some thoughts on how the club handled the intense game and being up 2 men on the pitch.
There was too many chaotic moments after we were up a man, up 2 men, because of our decision-making, of trying to do too much, not playing the game the right way, and really careless passes and turnovers and positioning. So it'll be something that we can look at and hopefully learn from, and then take another in-game experience and try to improve the group in that respect.
In the end, it was a 3-1 win by Kevin. Almost a 2-2 draw. There was that feeling that it could have changed entering this Leagues Cup break. Pat Noonan not really thrilled about the win right there, it seemed like.
No, listen, he doesn't mix up his words, right? I think that's been a consistent message that he said as far as having a high standard. Look, you can get results and have a bad performance. And I don't think it was a bad performance, but it's not the ultimate performance that he's looking for, right? So for him to drive consistency, there's a look and a feel of what that performance looks like. And until he kind of gets that, he's not going to settle for anything less.
Well, it seems like he's been chasing that all year, and he's just set an MLS record of the fastest team to 50 points. What is going to satisfy him?
I think that's the best thing about him, right? I think he's not going to be satisfied. But that, to me, is the definition of a winner, a guy that has high standards, that expects a lot from his team, that's going to push his team week in, week out to be the best. And like you said, we're starting to see the points and the results from that.
We'll shift gears because speaking of the best, we're going to see who is the best. On to the inaugural Leagues Cup, which begins this weekend. It's a new endeavor for the MLS and Liga Mexico, which is the top professional soccer division in Mexico. Both leagues will take a month off from league play. All 29 MLS clubs and 18 Liga Mexico clubs will participate. It is a World Cup-style tournament with a group stage made up of 4 regions. 32 teams will advance to the knockout phase, where a team will have to win 5 straight games to win the cup. And the top 3 finishers in the tournament will get automatic bids to the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which was formerly known as the CONCACAF Champions League. This would mean a more hectic schedule next year for FCC if they would make the top 3, much like LAFC had to deal with this year. It's inaugural, but it's exciting, different, but exciting. Yeah,
very different concept. I think anytime that you have a knockout, stage, kind of like the World Cup, I think is exciting for the fans. Of course, you're seeing different teams. It's a different format as far as scoring. There's a couple of things I'll let you kind of cover that, which is a little bit different too, which I think is good for the fans, but especially for the home fans here and the players especially. They get to see a different opponent. They get to see a different style of soccer. Playing against Mexican teams from South America, and that's a great thing. So very similar to kind of the European model with the Champions League and having a chance to compete domestically, but then also in something a little bit bigger in Europe. In that case, it's the same thing here, obviously, with CONCACAF and what they're trying to replicate.
Earlier this year, I went out to Mexico City and I saw Club America play Chivas Guadalajara in the semifinals, and you could see that atmosphere there. It's going to be really exciting to see the MLS mix with that.
Oh, crazy. And I think that's it, right? It's the world's game. And so I think anytime that you can see those different cultures and just the passion that's kind of behind, the game itself, and especially, again, for the fans in Cincinnati to experience that. We had a little bit of a taste of that with the World Cup the Gold Cup last week, having Guatemala in town and some of the fans there. Obviously a South American team with a ton of passion and well supported. I would expect to see the same thing from some of these Mexican teams. So it's fun.
The biggest thing I noticed was there were fences at Estadio Azteca breaking up the sections. The game, the format, it'll be unusual. Not like any format we've seen around here. If a team wins a game in regulation, they get 3 points, like they always would. But if a game is tied after 90 minutes, there's no extra time. A penalty shootout will begin right after the 90 minutes. The team that wins the shootout, they get 2 points. The team that loses the shootout, they get 1 point. 2 teams, LAFC and CF Pachuca, they get automatic bids into the knockout phase before they were the best teams last season in each league. Now, we're not what we're used to seeing over here, Kevin.
No, again, it's very, very different, right? As I talk about, very comparable to the European model. The big challenge now for FC Cincinnati and for other teams as well is how do you balance that with the domestic challenge or vision of and goal of trying to win MLS, right? Which is now FC Cincinnati's ambition, which is great. I think the other unique thing for some of those teams that maybe are bottom half of the table, they have something different to fight for now too. So it's almost like a lifeline, right? A team like obviously Miami, where Messi has just come in. The team's not doing great at the minute. They've got a chance. They've now signed Messi, a guy that can go on and kind of impact. And so that's, I think, to me, that's another added benefit for this at this stage of the season too, for the bottom half of the leagues, those teams that kind of have something else to shoot for.
That'll be fun to watch what Miami does from afar. But as far as FC Cincinnati, their first opponent in the tournament, Sporting KC. Let's take a look at our match preview brought to you by Tri-State GMC Buick. Sporting comes into the game in the bottom half of the table, but they've only lost 1 of their last 4. They have a quality goal scorer in Alan Pulido. And this Alan Pulido here, this could be an exciting team. Like you mentioned, every team kind of has a chance right now.
Yeah, and it's a well-coached team. It's a very historic club as well. And a team and a club that's played in big games, right? They have won, obviously, the league before, and for them, I think coming into this competition at this stage of the season, not kind of firing on all cylinders, I think it gives them and gives the fans a little bit of hope. So it's going to be a difficult opponent, two difficult opponents, I think, for FC Cincinnati. But for FC Cincinnati, again, a team that's fully confident, a team that's racking up the points domestically, and I think they have the ambition to win trophies and titles. This gives them another chance and another kind of avenue to do that.
Confidence will be important because Thursday, the return of Chivas Guadalajara to TQL Stadium. And they're one of the premier teams in Liga Mexico, and they are in first place this season. They still have Pavel Perez, who has scored on the turf at TQL Stadium, so he's not going to feel intimidated. They are a really, really good club, Kevin.
Really good club. And again, this is why this is a good thing, right? You're getting the best of the best, and as you mentioned, with the knockout kind of format, the best have to survive, right? So you're going to have to continue to show up and win. I think it's very unique about the penalties and at the end of regulation going straight to penalties, which obviously then helps with rest. So you're not kind of overplaying, overextending. Because at times too, players will play in the World Cup and they go into like a long 4 to 6 week tournament.
Yeah.
And it kind of really fatigues them. So having this approach, I think is smart. I think is unique. And hopefully that translates to great entertainment for the fans.
It'll be exciting to see how big their traveling fans will be.
Yep.
You can listen to Kevin and his partner, Tom Galerder, on the radio on ESPN 1530 doing the games, or on iHeartRadio when FC Cincinnati is at home. You can listen to their call when you watch on Apple TV. Just go into your settings and select Home Radio Broadcast to get the orange and blue perspective while you watch the game. Thanks, Kevin, so much. It'll be fun.
Thank you.
The MLS All-Star game was this week, and FC Cincinnati was well represented in the week of activities. After the break, we'll see how the boys did in D.C. The best of the MLS gathered in our nation's capital Wednesday for the MLS All-Star game, where the All-Stars from the MLS played a match against Arsenal of the Premier League. Luciano Acosta and some other MLS All-Stars got the week started on Monday with a visit to the White House, where they got to meet President Joe Biden and the First Lady, Jill Biden. After hobnobbing with the POTUS, on Monday, Luciano participated in the Skills Challenge Tuesday night at Audi Field. Arsenal bested the MLS in that competition. Then the main event on Wednesday. Luciano Acosta, selected captain of the MLS squad by Coach Wayne Rooney. Alvaro Barrial and Matt Miazga also selected to play for the MLS All-Stars, FC Cincinnati having the most representatives of any club on that roster. The Apple TV crew caught up with Matt before the game to talk about the hot start for FC Cincinnati.
You're the vet now, so you got to leave FC Cincinnati to the supporter shield.
Exactly. I'm an older guy now. Obviously, I'm 28 now. I feel old, but young at the heart. But no, obviously, we're in a good moment right now with Cincy. Hopefully, it continues, and we're going to keep pushing hard.
Then the game got started, and we found out why the Premier League is called the Premier League. Arsenal was all business in this friendly of sorts. They took the lead in the 5th minute with this goal by Gabriel Jesus. Things never really got any better for the MLS side as Arsenal cruised to a 5-0 victory. Kai Havertz scored in the last goal in the 89th minute to finish off the scoring for the North London club. That tied the most goals by an international team against the MLS All-Stars. Earlier in the day on Wednesday, the MLS Next All-Star game was played. FC Cincinnati was represented by Steve Jimenez and Ryder Mills. The game came down to a penalty shootout, and Ryder got his chance for the Eastern Conference in round 3. And he came through for his side with a goal from the spot. Ryder was named the MVP of MLS Next at the under-19 level this year. The West won the shootout 5-4. Hey, FC Cincinnati fans, TQL Stadium is the place to be, and you can catch all the action in 2024 with season tickets. Place your deposit for 2024 season tickets now and secure your place in the Fortress. You'll get tickets to all MLS games and have priority access to other competitions like the U.S. Open Cup and other events at TQL Stadium. Save your spot for all the action. Get your deposit in for 2024 season tickets at fccincinnati.com. FC Cincinnati Weekly. We'll be right back. The Gold Cup wrapped up last Sunday night at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles with Mexico taking on Panama. Mexico was in search of their 10th Gold Cup trophy and Panama looking for their first. Possession was almost even for the game, but Mexico had most of the quality, having almost twice as many shots as Panama. The game was scoreless until the 88th minute when Mexico started from the break from their own box, and Santiago Jimenez, he broke free for the game winner. Dominic Kinnear has an elaborate resume in the soccer world and the MLS in particular. FC Cincinnati was lucky to land him as an assistant coach. We're lucky to have him for this week's installment of Talkin' Tactics.
Hey guys, this is Dominic Kinnear, assistant coach for FC Cincinnati, and welcome to another exciting edition of Talking Tactics brought to you by MedPace. In this edition of Talking Tactics, we'll be sharing with you the clip of our goal against the Chicago Fire that led to a 1-0 victory in a very important Eastern Conference matchup. In the 83rd minute, Roman Celentano starts the ball, and as you can see there, it's good shape by our team as far as we want to do is open up Chicago and have our attacking players in the right spots. So it's more of a 3-4-1-2 with Luciano Costo underneath. As we kind of rotate the ball from left to right and get Alvis Powell on the ball, you can see there's a huge gap that will open up underneath for Brandon Vasquez to receive the ball to feet. It's a good ball by Alvis. At this particular moment, it's a real good hold-up play by Brandon. Takes a nice first touch, takes a good second touch, and then he finds Santiago Arias in a supporting position. Now we freeze right here when Santiago gets the ball. It shows the run of Don Badji, which is so important to this play because Lucho's kind of hanging out on the left-hand side, and Don Badji's run doesn't take one. It takes both Chicago defenders out of the space, and it opens up a possibility for Lucho to receive the ball deep over the back line from Santiago. These arrows point out our movement perfectly. As Santiago runs with the ball, you see he recognizes the pass. Lucho has his hand up knowing he's wide open. It's just important for us at this particular time. Has to be the right pass and the right touch, which for us works out great. Santiago plays a great ball over the top. Lucho, as we know, is technically gifted, and his first touch is, for me, it's exquisite, how he brings the ball down. At this particular moment, we're one-on-one in the penalty area with one of our best attacking players, not only in Cincinnati, but in the league. I think the defender's kind of feeling the heat a little bit. Great support by the front three for us, and you see Junior Moreno's coming in late as well. Great supporting run. But to be honest, it's one-on-one. Lucho's not going to miss up the chance to take a shot on goal. And as he scores, once again, we always say this in Talking Tactics, we must show our support and love for the stretcher crew here, who love every time we score a goal. They show the support. Huge goal for us, 1-0. Lucho, I think, has scored 5 consecutive goals at home now. Including this goal. It led to a huge 3 points for us. It was a way for us, as Chicago did sit deep at times. Sometimes the best way to get to goals over the top, and that play for me was exemplary of how we wanted to attack them in this particular moment. It led to a great 3 points. It led to a great goal, a great moment for our fans, the stretcher crew, and you people at home. And once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This is Dominic Kinnear, assistant coach of FC Cincinnati. Talking Tactics, brought to you by MedPace. I hope you enjoyed it.
FC Cincinnati fans, take your passion for your team to the next level with the official FC Cincinnati mobile app. Get instant access to match schedules, purchase tickets, and stay updated with the latest news and enjoy exclusive content right at your fingertips. Don't miss a beat. Download the FC Cincinnati mobile app today. The ultimate FC Cincinnati fan experience. It's now at your fingertips. FC Cincinnati Weekly. We'll be right back after the break. TQL Stadium is not just for match days. It's the perfect backdrop for your next upscale or casual event. It's home to 7 different club spaces. There's a perfect spot for any event of 15 or even up to 1,000 plus guests. Complement your event with stadium tours and a Gary the Mascot visit. Full service event management, seasonal menu offerings, and on-site AV equipment. Come join us at what was named the best venue of 2022 by the World Football Summit. For more information on availability and booking, contact private events at fccincinnati.com. Welcome back to FC Cincinnati Weekly. It's tournament time. If you haven't been to a game at TQL Stadium yet, this is your chance to get in on the action. The inaugural Leagues Cup, it starts this weekend, and tickets still available for both home group stage matches. Sporting Kansas City comes to TQL Sunday, and then Chivas Guadalajara returns to the Fortress next Thursday. Get your tickets now at fccincinnati.com. That's it for our show this week. Thanks so much for watching. Join us here every Friday at 7:30 for FC Cincinnati Weekly, the most comprehensive coverage of the orange and blue that you will find anywhere. For Kevin McCloskey and the rest of our FC Cincinnati Weekly crew, have a great evening and go FCC.
We are ready to go. About a 45-minute weather delay that did not dampen the enthusiasm of this soccer-crazed community here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Immediately, Lucho Acosta off the volley. There's for a handball. Is it given? It is. Penalty.
Steps to the ball, strikes it with his right foot, and pushes it by Willis. 1-1 in the Queen City. Acosta has Santi Arias. Arias buries it in the back of the net. The Queen City are up, and the orange and blue lead 2-1. Over to Aaron Bupenza. He's on inside of the 18. Bupenza has his first. He has opened his account in Major League Soccer. Game over. Cincinnati 3-1. For FC Cincinnati, a full-time whistle, a 3-1 victory, and they are dancing in the Bailey tonight.